Hey kiddos, in this lesson, we're going to continue being able to determine the measure of volume, finding volume. We're told that Allie has a fish tank that is shaped like a rectangular prism. The tank is 20 inches by 10 inches by 7.5 inches. To fill the tank, Allie's going to use buckets that hold 150 cubic inches of water. Allie's tank is empty. How many times does he need to fill his bucket in order to fill the fish tank? Well, first off, let's determine or figure out what would be the total volume for this fish tank. And to do so, volume is equal to base times width times height. And so 20 times 10 times 7.5. And that's equal to 1,500 cubic inches, or inches cubed. So first thing we need to do, multiply base times width times height. After we've done that, because we're looking to see, hey, how many times will we need to fill this bucket that can hold 150 cubic inches of water, in order to fill the fish tank? Well, we would then take this 1,500 cubic inches and divide it by the 150 cubic inches. That is going to be the bucket of water. And when we divide that, we end up with 10. So the number of buckets, or the number of times Allie would need to fill the bucket in order to fill the fish tank, would be 10 times. So what's our key point for today? Key point for today is that, hey, we can still use the volume formula when we're solving problems involving capacity, involving where we're going to need to fill something, or involving a question that talks about packing a rectangular prism, similar to the one that we just did. So we want to use this formula. And what's the formula? Formula again is volume is equal to base times width times height. Let's take a look at an example in our interacting with new material. We have a farmer who stacks hay bales, and the width and the length of each hay bale is shown below. So the volume of each is 10 and 2/3 cubic feet. Now, this 10 and 2/3 cubic feet lets us know what one volume is equal to. And so the farmer stacks 8 hay bales on top of one another. What's going to be the height in feet for each of these? Well, what do we know? Well, we know that volume is equal to base times width times height. We're told that the volume is 10 and 2/3. So volume is 10 and 2/3. We're told, by also looking at our image here, that the width and the length, or the base and the width, are 4 feet. Base is 4 feet. Width is 1 1/3 feet. And we're trying to find what the height is. What's the height in feet? And we also want to remember that our farmer is going to be stacking 8 of these. So whatever we find out, we want to make sure that we multiply it by 8. So 10 and 2/3. I'm going to leave this as 10 and 2/3. Kiddos, similar to the last assessment, if you were attempting to find what 10 and 2/3 is as a decimal, you would see that it's equal to 10.66666666. That would repeat on forever. So we're going to leave this as a fraction. We're just going to work with it as a fraction. As an improper fraction, 10 and 2/3 is equal to 32 over 3. So 32 over 3 is equal to 4, which is the same thing as 4 over 1, times 1 1/3, which again, we're going to just write this as an improper fraction. 1 1/3 as an improper fraction is equal to 4/3, and then equal to h. And so 4 times 4 is equal to 16. 1 times 3 is equal to 3. This 32 over 3 is still the same. And so if we take a look at 32, what times 16 would give us 32? So if we divide this, so if we multiply by the reciprocal, which is 3 over 16, multiply by the reciprocal, which is 3 over 16. And the reason why we're multiplying by the reciprocal, because 16 over 3 times 3 over 16 is equal to 1. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. 3 and 3 cancels out. 16 and 32. 16 goes into 16 once. 32 goes twice. So that means on this side we have 2. That cancels out. Or what's left, and our height is equal to 2. What does that 2 represent in the context of this question? Well, because everything is in feet, our height is going to be equal to 2 feet. Now remember, 1 bale of hay is equal to 2 feet. But we're told what's the height in feet of the stacked hay bales, and that we're told that there's 8 of them. So 2 times 8 is equal to 16. And since we're dealing with feet, it'd be 16 feet. So the height of this would be 16 feet. So once again, our formula of volume is equal to base times width times height. We're still going to use that. But as we saw in this particular question, we may be given the volume and we have to find the height. We may be given the volume and we have to find what the base is. So we're just going to use this formula. And because we have already worked on one-step equations, we're just going to use our one-step equations and knowledge to be able to find the unknown value. Alrighty, kiddos? Now let's move on to our partner practice for today.